Don't drop your grain of salt. You need that so you can think for yourself and draw your own conclusions. All right? Right on, sugar. Paveclaff. On guilt, fear, and the misuse of God power. Oh, my dear pigeons of paradise, I see you squirming. Some of you twisting and groan at the sight of the world's misery, as though you had swallowed the whole planet and it sits sideways in your belly. I know that feeling. It is the sound of compassion half awake, still dripping with sleep, forgetting that it dreams the dream it mourns. Now, the thing they call God, yes, that thing, the one people like to put in a small jar with a tight lid and a handwritten label, is not the one groaning. The groaning comes from forgetting that you are the jar breaker, the label scribbler, the very ink itself. Saint Germain said it plain: where you focus, there you are. But most of you, apparently, bless your distracted souls, aim the focus like a child with a magnifying glass, setting fire to ants you never meant to burn. Forgiveness, you see, has been sold in tin cans at the market. Buy two, get shame for free. True forgiveness is not polishing your chains until they shine. It is laughing until the chains fall off. It is the vision that says, this thing that frightened me was only painted cardboard. The real is untouched. And guilt. Oh, poor misunderstood guilt. Guilt is meant to be a doorbell. Ding dong. Perhaps choose again? Instead, you sit in the hallway with the doorbell clanging, clutching your ears, declaring yourself unworthy of ever entering the house. That is not guilt's purpose. That is like eating the menu instead of the meal. Fear, too. Don't scold fear. Fear is a marvelous minion. Quick with a broom, good at keeping you from walking into traffic. Oh, but you made it a landlord. No. Let it point. Let it warn. But do not give it the keys. Sometimes fear says, here is a cliff. Step back. Sometimes fear says, here is the veil. Tear it up and step through. To know the difference is wisdom. To obey fear blindly is slavery. And all these broken glass pads, my darling, most of that glass was someone else's idea of holiness. Walk barefoot on the shards, they said. It will make you pure. But did your heart tell you that? Did your heart clap its hands and sing? No. Your heart was tugging at your sleeve, whispering, there is a meadow just over there. Come on, the grass is soft. Yet you trudged on the glass because someone called it sacred. And you ended up with cut feet, didn't you? That is not obedience. That is self-betrayal dressed as devotion. So listen then. Shameless prophets appear bold because they feel nothing when they trample others. But the true prophet may blush, may wince, may feel the pang of misstep, and still choose, still stand, still declare with sovereign lips, yes, here, no, there. As though, my little cosmic apprentices, not that you are an apprentice to me, but to yourself. Because God's throne is your heart, cutie. Do not waste time writhing at the picture show of suffering. Do not beat yourself with shame inherited from deaf teachers. Do not crown fear and call it God. Instead, take guilt as a signal. fear as a threshold and your heart as a compass. One path may be crooked, another steep, but none requires broken glass unless you insist upon it. And if you forget all this, remember at least this. Every tear you shed at the world is also God weeping at its own play, forgetting the script for a moment, but never losing the role. Drink your cider, wipe your eyes, and laugh a little. It is all training, all drama, all God in action. Mighty I Am Presence, what do you want? Let's go deeper into the rough. Ah, you want me to go deeper into the rough? Very well. But beware, for in the rough, the grass is higher than your head, and the strange birds make stranger noises. And every so often you step on something squishy you'd rather not identify. Yet, here is where the secrets live. Now, let us speak of the ego. That word is thrown around like stale bread at a wedding of crows. The ego is not wicked, not a demon lurking in your attic. It is simply the mask you put on to enter the play. It is your ticket of admittance to the world of form. But what happens? You wear the mask so long you forget it is paper mache. And when someone bumps it, you cry, "Oh, my face!" No. It is only glue and paint. The true self remains untouched, laughing right behind it. Separation, then, is the grand prank. You were never actually cut from source, but you agreed to pretend you were, in order to play the game of finding your way back. You dove into the sea, forgetting you were the sea. And now you thrash and sputter, shouting, "Where is water?" Here, then, comes the misuse of God power. For God power cannot vanish. It is always flowing, like the great river under the mountain. But if you forget it is yours to direct, it flows into weeds, into shadows, into little whirlpools that suck you down. You begin using infinite energy to confirm your smallness. You say, "I am unworthy. I am a worthless sinner." And the power rushes in to build a palace of mirrors wherever your reflection sneers. Unworthy, unworthy, and you call it reality. This is the ultimate cruelty. Not that anyone else misuses their God power against you, but that you do it to yourself. You focus the divine lens upon your own imagined flaws and, oh, the irony, your focus creates them. You mistake the echo for the voice, the shadow for the body, the dream for the dreamer, and thus you whip yourself with the very light that came to free you. Consider guilt again. A Course in Miracles whispers, guilt is the ego's glue, the binding agent of separation. If you believe you are guilty, you will believe you deserve punishment. And if you believe you deserve punishment, you will unconsciously use your divine power to deliver it to yourself. Free shipping. You would trip yourself, hide your own keys, burn your own harvest. You will sabotage your joy and then claim, "See, I told you I was worthless." The cosmic doctrine would say, the currents of force always follow the law of their motion. If you set them circling in self-condemnation, they cannot spiral upward into liberation. You become your own jailer, rattling the keys in your pocket while crying that the door is locked. And Ramtha, he would chuckle and remind you, The greatest tyranny is self-forgetfulness. The shepherd who beats the sheep is bad enough, but the sheep that beats itself and calls it devotion, that is tragedy played as comedy. So I say, every time you use your God power to belittle yourself, to shrink yourself, to rehearse old lies about your worth, you are committing a holy blasphemy against your own soul. Not because God will smite you, but because you smite yourself with the very scepter placed in your hand. But here is the mercy. The moment you notice it, you can laugh. The whole rickety structure collapses with a chuckle. The ego cannot survive laughter, for laughter reminds you the masks are only masks, shadows only shadows. Do you see? Even the misuse of God power is still God power. Even the illusion of separation is still woven from the threads of unity. Nothing real has been lost. You've only been drawing doodles in the margins of infinity and then mistaking them for the whole book. Alright, so check this out. The parable of the garden of guilt. Beloved. Shakalaka. There once was a man who had a beautiful patch of soil behind his cottage. Rich earth, moist with morning dew, kissed daily by the sun. But this man, poor fool, did not trust beauty. He had been told by many grave-faced teachers that he was unworthy of such good ground. So when spring came, he did not plant corn, or beans, or lilies. He planted guilt. Yes, he took those little hard kernels of guilt that he carried in his pockets, gifts from his parents, from his preachers, from the whispers of neighbors, and he buried them in the soil. These, he said, are the seeds I deserve. Now, guilt is a strange crop. It does not sprout into green shoots or fragrant flowers. It grows barbed wire. And soon, his garden was not a garden at all, but a tangle of thorns and twisted metal, sharp enough to draw blood from the very air. The man wept. "Why has God cursed me with such a harvest?" he cried, scratching his arms on the barbs as he tried to water them with his tears. A woman from the next village walked by. She saw his bleeding hands and the barbed garden and said, "Why do you tend those thorns so carefully?" "Because they are mine," he said. "I planted them. They prove I am faithful to my suffering, and if I tend them long enough, perhaps they will one day bloom into forgiveness." The woman laughed. Oh, she laughed until she doubled over, for the absurdity of it tickled her ribs. "Forgiveness does not grow from guilt," she said. "Forgiveness is already the flower, waiting underneath the soil you will not dig. You have mistaken your punishment for your crop. Look at you. God gave you rich earth, and you turned it into a crown of thorns." The man frowned, for her laughter felt like mockery. But in truth, it was not mockery. It was medicine. For even as he sulked, her laughter loosened one of the barbs. It fell, clattering into the dirt. A little patch of sunlight spilled through, and the man saw, just beneath the thorn roots, a single golden shoot waiting, patient as eternity. Dearest, beautiful pigeons of the light, most of you are that man. You have been watering barbed wire and calling it virtue. But all along, forgiveness, real forgiveness, the vision that dissolves illusions, was there beneath, needing no thorn to make it grow. So maybe stop planting guilt. The harvest will never be bread, only blood. Instead, remember what seed you carried before the world taught you to pocket guilt. Plant that and watch what blooms. Shaka fucking lockup. Good night.